0864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. It's a busy day along the Oregon Sports Network because Oregon is officially wrapping up fall camp, turning the page toward Fresno State here in just a little while, and we're really looking forward to it. The Ducks will practice again tomorrow, a few lighter practices over the course of the next few days, and then it's full-on game week. Mario Cristobal probably going to be meeting with the media again on Monday during game week, but that's not before we hear from him on Friday. He will meet with the media tomorrow. I think there's going to be some more decisions, at least from the external eyes, about the depth chart and who's going to start, and Coach Cristobal will be discussing all of that tomorrow. Today, meanwhile, after practice, we got the chance to catch up with the offensive assistant coaches for the Ducks, including Jim Mastro, Oregon running back coach, Brian McClendon, the wide receivers coach, and Alex Mirabal, the Oregon offensive line coach. We have those interviews for you both today and tomorrow over the course of the next 2 hours of Duck Insider to wrap up camp week and the camp season here on Duck Insider. Adrian Jackson of the defense and Mace Funa of the Duck defense, we will also talk with them today. And Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, we talked with him for our regular chat earlier this week, but we're going to have him talking with the media, previewing a couple of the highlights, what he had to say to the general media, getting ready for the Oregon Invitational, which begins tomorrow at 1 o'clock. At least that's the first Oregon match. More details on GoDucks.com. This is going to be a really fun team to watch. They're one of the last 16 to play last year. Let's hope last 8, last 4, last 2, last 1. That would be pretty nice. Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, also talked with the media today, a couple of his thoughts and a health update on his team. When we talked to him on Monday, he wasn't sure about everybody health-wise. Now they've got some more clarity on who you will see at Pape Field coming up on Sunday at 1 o'clock when the Ducks take on the likes of Northern Arizona. Oregon soccer back at home for that 1 o'clock kickoff against Northern Arizona. We'll hear from Graeme Abel. Also, Zoe Hasenour, great interview. She talked a little bit about her journey with the Ducks so far and also what it's like having an NIL deal within the current landscape. Zoe Hasenour, one of the Ducks that does have a name, image, likeness agreement. She talked a little bit about that process, and I think fans, you're going to get a lot of information from it. You'll get a kick out of it. So that's the show today. I do want to tell you that tomorrow on the program, Jerry Allen will be here, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Voice of the Ducks will return to Duck Insider every Friday coming up throughout football season. And also, one Mike Jorgensen will be with us tomorrow. We will have our Sylvan Ridge picks coming your way. Sylvan Ridge, a new partner of Duck Insider. This is all for Mike Jorgensen, who loves himself some wine. And one of these days, we'll be making our picks out at Sylvan Ridge. That's the plan. If you're not familiar, we do picks for every Pac-12 game every Friday. It's basically Jerry and Jorgie making fun of each other. I'm just kind of there, winning all of the picks because I am the defending champion, and I have dominated the picks since 2014 when I started picking with Jerry and Jorgie. Not to toot my own horn, but it's kind of the truth. The numbers don't lie. Scott's sitting here like, have you really done that? And I'm like, Scott, yeah,
maybe
I have.
Last year.
Last year it was a tie.
Right.
But I've been dominant. I said over a 6-7 year period, I've been dominant.
All right, I'll give you that.
Thank you. Scott Phillips, turn your mic off. God. So Jerry Allen's going to be with us in addition to Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal. We'll make our picks, and we're kind of going to wrap up camp. What did we learn from camp? That's what we'll talk with Jerry and Jorgie about tomorrow as we put a bow on Oregon Fall Camp. A couple things to discuss before hearing from Coach Mastro. The Pac-12 also with a big announcement today. And for those of you, we've been talking about this a little bit, and there's more details on goducks.com/radio. Those of you who are tuning in, there's a number of different ways to listen to the Oregon Sports Network. Our terrestrial affiliate stations like here in Eugene, Portland, and beyond. And there's the GoDucks Game Day app, which has been awesome. That's where you're going to get your tickets. You can also listen to our streams there. GoDucks.com/live audio. You can listen there as well. You can listen on demand via the podcast. And then we also, for a long time, had a partnership with TuneIn Radio. Many of you are familiar with that app. TuneIn has elected to bring college sports under the umbrella like their pro sports broadcast, which means you have to have a TuneIn Premium account to listen. As a result of that, we want to tell you that there is still, for those of you who are not listening on a terrestrial radio station, there is still a way to listen to our broadcast for free via the GoDucks Game Day app and via goducks.com/live audio. And there's a new app called the Varsity Network that is still in development, but it's essentially going to be your college sports broadcast headquarters in one application on your phone. That's coming soon as well. Tune in. You're going to have a subscription to listen to the Oregon Sports Network. That's a decision that TuneIn made starting this upcoming season, but there's still a free way via the GoDucks Game Day app and via goducks.com/live audio. The Pac-12 today, and if you have any questions about that, by the way, my email is on the staff directory of goducks.com, and you can go to goducks.com/radio for more info on where you can tune in to the Oregon Sports Network. Pac-12 expansion. This coming today, a statement. And you always love getting emails when it's just statement on. That's when I always go like, oh, man. Following consultation with our presidents, this from the Pac-12 Conference today, chancellors and athletic directors, the Pac-12 Conference has made the decision to not pursue expansion of our membership at this time. This decision was made following extensive internal discussion and analysis and is based on the current competitive strength and cohesiveness of our 12 universities. It is also grounded in our confidence in our ability as a conference to best support our student athletes and to grow and thrive both academically and athletically. The Pac-12 statement on expansion coming from the conference today. The running back room is pretty darn deep for Oregon football. Guys like C.J. Verdell and Travis Dye, that might be the best 1-2 punch in the country. Guys like Trey Benson and Sean Dollars working their way back to health. And then the new guys, Sevin McGee, Byron Cardwell, and the walk-on Aaron Smith that's been really good. Cross Patton's been really good. There's some depth in that Oregon running back room. And running back coach Jim Mastro met with the media just about an hour ago, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, talking about just that.
3 years now, managing CJ.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're sick of it. I'm sure he is too. But yeah. How do you go about it? How do you, as it gets closer to the season?
Well, the good news is we have tons of depth. So, but with him, it's just managing his load. He plays a physical game of football. He's not going to change. It's just his DNA. So, goes until he can't go. You know. And we just the good news is we could kind of limit his reps because we have guys behind him that are productive as all hell. And so, just got to manage that and hope we can get him through.
There's always something next for somebody to work on, for somebody who's played as much as he has.
Yeah.
What is the next thing for him?
I just fine-tune his game a little bit. He's 400 level football. You stick him on a board, and his knowledge of the game is off the charts, and so Travis too. So with him, it's just refining his skills. Maybe a little bit better route runner since we're going to ask our backs to run a lot of routes this year. But he's what you want DNA-wise. You just got to keep him healthy.
Your trio of freshmen, just how much better have they gotten with all the time you get during fall camp?
A lot. Those two guys are really good. It's all about reps. Right. One back offense and one ball. So how do we get them the reps we need to get them good? Both those two kids have picked it up tremendously fast. So it's just about, can we get him in a game and get him some touches?
Where is Trey in that return process? Trey's
great. Trey's probably 99% ready to go. I mean, he looked really good, but again, he hasn't taken a hit in a while. So Trey's going to go when we feel like he's ready to go. I'm not going to push him before his time, but he's real close.
What goes into for the young guys, particularly, obviously, cast blocking is humongous.
Yeah, so protection. Yeah,
run the young. What does that look like in practice when you're teaching them from the jump?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, both those kids they got a lot of courage. They're not afraid, and that's the first thing. A lot of times, high school kids come in, they don't want to block anybody. Those two kids are not afraid, It's just understanding protections and how we do things with our front and understanding calls and stuff like that. But they've done, pretty good so far. Ways to go.
What have you seen out of Seven just as a pass catcher and that kind of dynamic aspect he adds, especially when you said you guys are going to be passing the ball?
Dynamic athlete. He's so good in space. He's so good with body awareness. If the ball's anywhere in his radius, he's catching it. And that's unique for a running back that can do that. He's basically a running back with receiver skills, and that's good.
Have you ever had a guy that's been committed as long as he was prior to getting here? It was like 4 years.
Yeah, probably not, but it was a process. He gave me some gray hairs, but it's all good now.
Yeah. Particularly on the high school back and forth for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a.
Even just last year, and as you're talking with him, it was like about what New York was doing, what they weren't doing. Do you bother to play? Do you not bother to play? He was talking about possibly enrolling early, but they're going to play in the spring. So
these last 18 months were crazy. I can't even. You write a book on what it was, especially for high school kids trying to come out. So he made it, and he's a survivor. Seven McGee is a survivor, and I love that about him. A
lot of your guys, regardless of running back or not, are versatile. Is he a guy that you could say, hey, go in and play receiver as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, and probably he's going to be one of our 2 punt returners, I would imagine. So he's got great ball skills.
Yeah, he has been working out a lot in the return game, and the coaching staff really darn excited about the dynamic athlete that Seven McGee is. That was Jim Mastro, Oregon running back coach, talking with the media today. More to come. We're going to flip to the defensive side, guys that try to stop those running backs every now and then. Mace Funa, Adrian Jackson, hearing from them as fall camp is coming to a close on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial studio. Every head coach and assistant coach interview that we do and our crew tapes out by the HDC courtyards this year, it's brought to you by our friends at the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. To the student athletes on the defensive side of the ball, Adrian Jackson and Mace Funa. They talked a little bit about their play so far in fall camp, the defense overall. We begin with Adrian Jackson, a guy that they call Ajax. I'll tell you, he's versatile and has been through a lot in his career. Talked a little bit about all of that with the media this week.
Kind of fall camp's coming to a close. Just kind of what excites you right now about fall camp in this team right now?
Really our physicality that we're establishing this year. I feel like both on the offense and the defensive side, we're establishing a physicality that people are going to be surprised about when we're coming into this season, really. Especially me, that's what I've been trying to work on for the last few years of my playing time. And so seeing that, I think that's a big part of our playing this year.
What's just this journey been like? Because going into the 2019 year, you were slated to start, and then you got hurt, and then 2020 was not a normal year at all. Just kind of what's just this build-up been like for you to get back out there?
Really a learning process. 2019 and 2020, everybody knows it was a hard season for me, but as I'm coming back, I feel like those seasons were made for this moment, really. I feel like those seasons are the ones that are going to make or break me, really. So I feel like they got me ready for this moment, and I feel like once this season gets going, we're going to be ready to go.
Mario mentioned you becoming more of a every down player. What goes into that for you?
For me, becoming an every down player, I have to get more physical on the edge, which I'm showing as I've been talking about physicality, and I got to be more consistent. That's what I've really been working on. My consistency wasn't as good as it was in 2019, 2020, but now this year, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize getting my football IQ up, it's starting to be more consistent for sure.
You still like, obviously, the situational aspect. So, last year was the dime backer when you came in and did a lot. You certainly had that big hit against UCLA. But beyond that role, like when you're in that situational edge rushing capacity, whether it's a joker or a certain personnel deal, what do you try to bring to that position?
I try to bring juice. I try to bring physicality, and I try to bring speed. I try to bring something different that nobody really seen at this position yet, and that's what I'm trying to show this year.
Yeah, you're a super athletic guy coming out of high school, playing in Colorado. How do you feel like your game has maybe developed or changed since you've gone through some different defenses here at Oregon?
I feel like it changed a lot. I'll say last year when you were with Andy Avalos' defense, he was more on technique everything, technique with shedding blocks and getting off the block and setting the edge and everything. So I guess that set me up this year easy good for Coach DeRita's defense and using some of Avalos' techniques and stuff like that, still shedding blocks or still being physical and stuff like that. You feel me?
Beyond improving physically and physicality-wise to set the edge, how much of it was mental in terms of just making it to be an every down player? Is it a lot of mental discipline about, hey, you want to get after the quarterback, you want to go for that, but that's not always the objective on every play?
For sure. It is for sure always mental. Every down that you play, you're starting with thinking. Every down that you're playing, every down different. Like first down, you're going to play first down different from third down. You're going to play third down and short different from third down and long. So that's what I really had to start learning this stuff. How to play my third downs, how to play my first and 10s, how to play my third and longs. Like I really had to switch up my foot placement and where I'm going on the tackle or how I'm faced towards the tackle. Little things like that.
Go back to some of your injuries, man. Not to hit on all negative stuff, whatever, but obviously there's been a few. I mean, go back to I think it was the Utah game. I want to say in 18.
Oh yeah.
You've had a couple.
I had quite a few stuff on injuries for sure, but my two major ones were both feet, and both of the same things happened to both feet, unfortunately. But on the right foot last year, I didn't have to receive surgery on the right foot, so that was a good thing. So, and ever since, both of my feet been back ready, and they're healed at 100% now. So that's all I'm thanking God for.
Do you feel like the acclimation period adjustments for fall camp has helped as a guy like you that's dealt with injuries before?
For sure. Like this fall camp has really helped me going through this fall camp with my injuries and letting them heal to 100%, I'll say.
One of the more veteran guys in the linebacker room and here on the team. How have you seen the culture change or build, strengthen in the time that you've been here?
With the veteran guys, you can see that we started off as a young team last year. So now we're kind of still young, but since I got to play with older guys like Troy Dye and Justin Hollins and Jalen Jelks, that they gave me some knowledge for now. Since I'm in my fourth year, I can hand it down to the younger guys, and I'm a veteran guy now. So now I'm setting all the standards now, and now I realize that I'm the person in the room that I got to keep everything on high. I got to keep everything on edge. I got to make sure people are staying on this, you feel me? So I just think the guys ahead of me that have taught me how to be a leader now.
Adrian Jackson, the guy they call Ajax, he really is a veteran on this team now, and he's been through a lot, going through injuries, he's going to start, then the weird year, then he gets hurt, and it's just, I'm excited to see what he brings to this Duck defense because he is a heck of a football player. Another guy who's a heck of a football player, he showed it right out of the gate his freshman year, is Mace Funa. He and Kayvon Thibodeau on the field at the same time? I don't want to be the opposing quarterback. Mace Funa talked with the media this week about fall camp and his game so far.
How big is setting? I mean, it's always setting the edge for both edge positions, obviously, but particularly for the strong side guy. How big is that for your role in this defense?
It's a huge role, just because with all that space that the offense has to work on with the field, I really don't want. I try to make it easier on everybody else on defense and try to set the edge so the running back or the quarterback doesn't have too much space to work with when it comes to running the ball.
You've got a few weeks now in the new defensive scheme. What are some of the things that have come from it that you've seen that are really going to let you guys be that much better on game day?
Throughout fall camp, we've just been adjusting everything off of the players that we have. We look at our front. We got a solid front. We have players. Our depth is just crazy up front. We have players that can come in with fresh legs throughout the games and give those people that were just in a break for a couple plays and come back in on the edges as well with me and KT. All those young players developing real good. Swinson, I'm sure everybody's heard about Swinson. He's made a major step throughout this fall camp. Trevin, Mai, Jake Shipley, Louis. They're throwing Louis around everywhere just because he's an all-around guy. He can play edge, play in the middle. Brandon Buckner, Terrell Tillman, all of them. And then as well as the secondaries, And then, of course, you can't leave out the middle linebackers with Noah Sewell, Justin Flo, Drew Mathis, Nate, Bukalani. Yeah, it's just – right now, Coach has just been throwing things around just on how we look throughout camp, and so far it's starting to come together.
As you transition from, fall camp, getting ready for a game week, what's the biggest thing you try to help with that transition that you've learned from your years here?
It's just coming off of fall camp, I try to transition myself from working against our tackles and their style of play on run blocks, pass protection, to starting to lean towards Fresno State and see how their whole line plays, their schemes, their tactics, and that's just how my mentality works on coming into season.
On the defensive side, does anything about Justin or Noah still surprise you at all? Because those young guys right there, or what?
No, it's expected of them, they're just raw. That's just raw talent right there that you can't find anywhere else in the country. So yeah.
It seems like this defense has a chance to do something very special this year with all the talent you guys have. Does it kind of feel that way throughout fall camp? Does it feel like this defense is ahead of where we're supposed to be, like we're ready to go here? Or?
Most definitely. Our biggest thing is just picking off where we left off last season as well as from spring. From my perspective, our defense as a whole is just taking a big step from spring ball to fall camp right now. And I think that once we get everyone else to buy into the system that Coach DeRuyter has and what each of the position coaches have, you really can do something special this year.
How has it been grasping his I know some of the terminology he was saying kind of carried over for continuity purposes, but how has it been grasping, what he's trying to get you guys to do?
It's pretty similar. For me, I know that since I played that position back in high school, it falls easily, and I can say the same for the other players. KT does KT, Braden Swinson, Trevor Mai. It's just overall, all our outside linebackers have just done a well job with implementing.
That was great hearing from Mace Funa. I mean, him and Kayvon Thibodeau, I think, on each side are just going to be really, really difficult for opposing teams, offensive lines, quarterbacks to deal with. Heard him talk a little bit at the beginning about just setting the edge, how important it is. And, yeah, I mean, the Ducks have a lot of skill. Now, maybe the best part about Coach DeRuyter's defense, though, is the players that he's inheriting. Such a great recruiting class over the last few years. That's what we've talked about at Oregon for a long time, right? The recruiting classes have just been off the charts. So good, so good, so good. They're stacking the depth. I think this is one of the deeper defenses that the Ducks have had. Now we see if that defensive depth is really an asset for Oregon in terms of quality depth. You can talk about having a lot of different bodies to throw out there, but that quality depth, being able to rotate guys and keep guys fresh, I think that's what the Ducks really have this season. We'll talk a little more football coming up. When we return, Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach. They're starting this weekend back at Matthew Knight Arena. And Duck Insider back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Toyota's National Sales Event.
Thanks. I've been waiting to get a new Toyota all year.
Well, right now we've got exciting offers on our lineup of 2021s, like Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Tacoma.
Highlander! Jan, do you mind watching Chance?
Oh, okay. Listen, Chance, I run a tight ship, so I don't want any funny business. Who's a good boy? Toyota's national sales event is on.
Current offers end September 7th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages?
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. If you missed it, the Pac-12 today announcing that they will not at this time seek any expansion to the conference. We'll see what happens. This is still a tumultuous time. Is that a good word around college sports, trying to figure out what everything's going to look like? And all this talk about Texas and Oklahoma, but it's going to be a few years from now. So if they win the Big 12 title, is it like a lame duck kind of title? I mean, it's gonna be a little bit weird over the next few years, I think, and we'll see where that goes. But the Pac-12 currently not seeking any expansion. Heard from Coach Mastro, Adrian Jackson, Mace Funa, now pivoting toward Oregon volleyball because the Ducks will be hosting the Oregon Invitational. Matt Ulmer squad back on the floor tomorrow. It's going to be a 1 o'clock start time at Matthew Knight Arena. You can get your tickets and details are at goducks.com. Remember, proof of vaccination or a negative test in the last 3 days will be required for entry for all Oregon home athletic events right now. The Ducks will play Portland State to open up the season. It's going to be on the Oregon live stream, and KWVA, our buddies from the student radio station, going to have the call for you as well. Matt Ulmer talked with the general media a little bit this week just about what to expect heading into the start of the season. It all starts Friday at 1 o'clock. Matt Ulmer.
Yeah, I've been impressed with everybody. I feel like everybody has grown since last time we played. I think there's just there's a good amount of excitement and positive energy about having the season, and things lately haven't been trending in a great direction COVID wise, but better than what it was last year, and some restrictions and not playing in masks and just being together. So a lot of positives there for our group. But we're a pretty solid team coming off of last year, and we're hopeful that we can continue to grow.
Your scrimmages over the last few weeks, what was the main takeaways that you guys had from those?
Yeah, just seeing who, what does it look like when the lights are on and we actually have fans, in the building. It's a lot different than when you're practicing, just seeing how people react, and, when competition's on the line, and then just looking at different lineups and seeing if there's, we know that if we put out the same lineup we had to end last year, we're a good team. So just trying to figure out if there's a even better option or what those options are. So I think over the last couple of weeks, it's been trying to, do some discovery things and seeing what we have. But then also trying to get, reacclimated to each other, comfortable in what we're trying to do, and become consistent.
How was it having fans in the stadium for the first time?
Great. Yeah. I mean, it was a bummer last year because we're an exciting group to watch. I thought we did a lot of great things, and we have some really, special student athletes that, they compete hard and have, really great energy. And I think it's just it's a fun group. And, we missed not having supporters. We missed not having, supporters for the other side. Just the whole environment, was different. So I think we're excited for that one. And then just the community aspect, just, connecting, seeing people after the game, or having, getting a younger audience in that maybe are aspiring volleyball players that they get to see, just all those things that makes everything that we do at Oregon so special. So we're looking forward to that.
When you're talking about that lineup, that's so fun to watch. Obviously, Brooke Miller named the All-Pac-12 preseason. With another year of that lineup seemingly intact, what are some things that you can maybe see more of, or some different people within that lineup stepping up?
Yeah, so I think Taylor Williams, who played some last year, she's really grown. I think she's becoming a very dominant attacker and a well-rounded player, and so it'd be nice. She provides a different look for us. So if she can just continue to grow, her confidence in her game. Kiari Roby is now eligible to compete, so I'm looking at her at middle more and seeing what she can do and what she can bring offensively. And then Becca Morris, who was the serving specialist last year, but is a really phenomenal defender, back row player, seeing what she can do. So those would be three. All the freshmen are fantastic and have bright futures ahead. We have 5 middles, so trying to figure out what to do with that. I know it's a good problem to have, but it's just there's a lot of quality depth there, and so we'll keep playing around with it.
Yeah, Coach Ulmer, you talked about Kiari Roby and that rotation at middle blocker. How do you see that rotation start off the season?
Yeah, again, I think we have some knowns, which are Abby and Carson, who are our middles all last year. We know about them, and then we have Kiari and we have Reagan and Colby Neal, Reagan Hope. So we have those 3, and they're all really good. They play at a lot of schools right now. But Abby and Carson are very experienced. They've been there. They've played high level competition at this level, at this speed. They know what their jobs are within the system, and for the other 3, it's about learning a lot of those things. But the ceilings of everybody else are very high. So again, I think it's a good problem to have because we have great experience and great mentorship coming from Abby and Carson, who are now in their 4th year, even though they have 3 years of eligibility left. They're seniors, or Abby's actually graduated. It's just a really interesting scenario that has probably never been done before, because of COVID. So we're just trying to navigate that and handle it the best we can. I think you're asking about the defense and maybe how Becca fits in. Yeah. So it's difficult because, Becca and Georgia and really Brooke are 3 of the elite liberos out there. And they're all on our team. So, with Brooke as the left and Georgia, we've been able to turn that into a great positive. And Becca, it's difficult because if we run a 6-2, then there's it doesn't really create an opening for her to have an expanded role. If we ran a 5-1, then maybe that would give her a look. So I think again, we're trying to figure out how to do that. But we know that Becca on the other side in practice really elevates our level because it's very difficult to score against her. And so our offense has to continue to grow and mature in order to have success in practice, which I think will really benefit us when we get in a game, and we know what our expectations are to be successful. So Becca is a really big deal to us, and I don't know how we get her a ton of playing time, but I'm very open to it because she's really impressive, and we're really happy she's a Duck.
Coach Ulmer, you guys were ranked in the top 15th in the recent NCAA poll, and with 4 remaining players from that Elite 8 team, do you guys have your sights set on the national title this year?
I mean, I think we have big goals. I think our team has been working as such. I think they're very focused. They're very driven. They got a great taste in that, Sweet 16 match last year of where we are and where we could be. A lot of that things have to go well for you, injuries or COVID or whatever else. But as far as how we are approaching day to day, it's been at a very high level. It's been that there's big goals and people are serious about being good. And I think if you do that every day or, consistently, you're going to be, you're going to be in a position to be very successful come tournament time. So I like what we're doing. I like our leadership. I like our growth and maturity. You just want to keep seeing that and let's see what happens.
Talk to me a little bit about Morgan Lewis. She led the team in kills in the tournament matches. I know that last year there was a little bit of inconsistency with her relationship with Elise Ferreira. How are the two of them progressing together? And what is the jump that you've seen from Morgan from last year now headed into this season?
Yeah, I think that's just it. Is about becoming more consistent in her choices. Physically, she's a big time athlete, and she has a great arm and great power and great size, and she has all the shots. It's just when to use them. And I think sometimes she makes poor choices, and that's kind of what can get her in trouble. But I think the last 9 matches last year, she hit like 315. So basically the last half of the season or whatever it was for us. Which that's a great number. That's really big for us. And she was very dominant, towards the end. So she has big goals also, and her and Elise have a really nice connection, and I'm excited to see her continue to progress this year.
So last year it was Robinson and Mutiri that were always in the same rotation, and Ferreira and Lewis. Is that going to remain the same for this year?
I mean, it's something we're definitely looking at. If we go 6-2, then those would probably be the partnerships.
Is there a possibility of changing from the 6-2?
I mean, I think there's always a possibility of everything. We've looked at all of it. I think it's all good, and I think we don't know exactly what's best until we start going playing other people and we see how people respond. So yeah, we've definitely looked at within our scrimmages. We've looked at a 5-1. We've looked at the 6-2. 6-2 probably gives us better defense. 5-1 potentially could give us more offense. I think a big reason why we were successful last year is because of our defense. And I'm hopeful that everybody has grown in their offensive capabilities since then. It appears to be so. So if we can continue to play a high-level defense like we've been playing, and our offense, gets better, if we can go up, we hit 235 last year. If we could get up to 250, 260, and continue to hold teams to what we were holding them at, which is like 165, then we're a really tough team to beat.
I think they're going to be a really tough team to beat against anybody this year. Their defense was one of the best in the country. Now their offense is getting to that level, and toward the end of the season, it certainly was getting to that level. They hit at a very high clip. The Ducks were very, very efficient. A lot of it had to do with the team, I think, kind of rounding into form. They went through so many injuries in 2019, didn't really have a consistent lineup. Then in 2020, the world shuts down. They don't play until the spring, and what do you know? After the whole season went on, they had some availability issues throughout the season. Everybody was healthy. The Ducks are one of the toughest outs out there. I think that the potential is there for a really, really, really fun Oregon volleyball season. A really fun Oregon volleyball season. When we come back, let's hear a little bit more from Coach Ulmer, and then we're also going to hear from Graeme Abel because Oregon soccer is back at Pape Field coming up on Sunday. That's all still to come. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry, Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Hoodoo, longtime supporters of Oregon Athletics. Let's hear a little bit more from Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer. I'm really excited to see what this team can do. If you have the opportunity this weekend to head to the Oregon Invitational, you can get your tickets, goducks.com, read about all the different things that you should know about attending an Oregon sporting event. It will be a little bit different. Bear with us, have some patience. Might take a little longer to get into all the venues this year. But, hey, if you're planning on going to Oregon football next weekend, I mean, why not try it out at Oregon volleyball? Try it out at Oregon soccer. Get used to that mobile ticketing, hey? I mean, I think it's just good practice, right? The football team's been practicing. Volleyball, soccer been practicing. It's just good practice then as a fan to go to other events before going to Hudson, you know? Matt Ulmer, he talked with the media a little bit more previewing the start of the season. It all begins tomorrow for Oregon volleyball.
Coach, how have you guys transitioned from, preseason practice to preparing for this 3-game and 2-day stretch?
Yeah, so we had been going like 2 practices a day the last 2 weeks, and then this week we're down to 1. We're doing film, talking more about the teams we're going to play this weekend as opposed to solely focused on us. Again, we're not doing a ton of that, but we're doing enough just that we're, trying to be familiar with the teams that we're going to compete against. It's hard now because they haven't played any matches, so you don't know exactly what you're going to see. But you can get an idea based upon what they've done in the past, or some of the things that they have now. So just talking about that and just trying to start to get our eyes focused on somebody else other than a green and the yellow jersey.
So, Coach, it's an experienced team. Everyone except for Yade Sadeko coming back onto the roster. Who's taking the biggest jump from when the season ended to when you guys met back up at the beginning of this month?
That's a tough question because I think they all have. I really think everybody has really raised their level of play. The experience of last year was worth a lot in so many ways, not just the volleyball piece, but just life piece. And I think probably for most people, in their lives, you hopefully learned a lot, through the past year and a half. And I think we definitely have. I think Abby Hansen's hitting the ball harder than she's ever hit, which is important for us that we get more offense out of her. Nunaviller looks even better than she did last year. Our setters, I'm really proud of. I think they're making better decisions and they're much calmer and ready to run maybe a more sophisticated offense, which is exciting. I could keep going, but I think, I'm impressed by how everybody has taken on the challenge of elevating our team to the next level.
Can you talk about what that's when you get that taste, or when your team gets a taste of whatever that next level is? How much that can also contribute to whatever jumps you're seeing, or their mentality of we need to get back there and maybe.
Yeah, I think it's the Purdue match for us. We really. Were very emotional and didn't start well in the first 2 sets. We didn't show up just emotionally. And so I was really hoping that we could turn it around and give them a great fight. Even if we lost, it was really important for our team to get in that kind of atmosphere, to see what that was like and own it. And we did, and we had a chance to take it to 5 and we didn't, but we played a very different style of volleyball. And I think the team understood that because of the pain of that, the disappointment of that. It's no longer me trying to get it out of them. It's them determined to wake up every day to do it because they want to. And for that as an athlete, when it's you who's trying to get the best out of you, that's completely different than when somebody's trying to drag you along to it. And so I think that's probably the biggest difference from, now to, when they first came here. Now they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it because this is what they want to do and they're bought in. And it's, as a coach, it's way more enjoyable to coach that.
God, how about that? Matt Ulmer, really great stuff talking about just the mentality of this team. I loved that quote from Coach Ulmer, that, you know, it's amazing the difference that just that flip of a switch mid-match can make, right? They didn't play well the first couple sets, then they come back, they make it interesting, and that was the last time we saw this team in action. Now that's fueled them all year. If they had just rolled over in that game and they end up losing in 3 sets, how different would the mentality be heading into this year? It's fascinating. It's like he knows what he's talking about, huh? That's Matt Ulmer, the Oregon Volleyball head coach. Meanwhile, Graeme Abel's Oregon soccer team, they will be in action Sunday at 1 o'clock. You can watch on the Oregon live stream and listen if you want to listen to the radio stream as well. KWVA, the student radio station, will have you covered. Graeme Abel talked today a little bit more about the health of his roster. We weren't sure after everybody got banged up a bit on Sunday. Ducks were dealing with some injuries. He gave an update on that and talked a bit about where his team's at heading into the 3rd match of the season, as Oregon has started out 1-0-1. How's Oregon soccer feeling heading into the 1 o'clock kickoff against Northern Arizona at Pape Field on Sunday? Graeme Abel.
Your thoughts just looking back on your most recent road trip, very eventful.
Yeah, it was eventful and stuff. So, no, it was solid. It was good to get a road trip in nice and early with regards to getting on the road, especially with all of our newer players and stuff like that. So, a solid result, not an easy place to play. You know, I think they laid the playing surface 3 days before the game, and so some real good positives that came out of the game. You know, in terms of some of the goals that we scored and some of the things on the attacking side of the ball. And when you look at the goals we conceded, all, you know, goals that are preventable and controllables down the line.
Zoe's been, finding some assists recently. What have you seen out of her just this preseason and going into the early season?
When I first got here with Zoe, the focus was on Zoe's goal scoring, and it was, I think, what you've seen from Zoe over the last 18 months is her evolution as a player to an all-round player now, a player that can defend, a player that can, is exceptional final passer of the ball, and she's still a threat goal scoring wise. So she's only going to continue to get better. She's got 2 years with us after this, and so you're going to see her continue to get better and better.
And you got to see your depth at goalkeeper, probably not the way you wanted to see it, but what did you see out of Goldberg?
We knew all along she was a good goalkeeper, and our goalkeeping scenario is probably as competitive as Oregon has had in a long time. So, composed, made a really good save. I think about 3 seconds left on the clock. So she's going to continue to evolve, continue to grow, and Leah and Maddie will push one another.
Generally, offensively, what's been the biggest change you've seen from where you guys kind of were wrapping up the spring to now? Because, the offense has been there in a way that it wasn't last year.
Threats in different areas, continue to score goals off of set pieces, continue to be, different threats from wide areas, threats from central areas. We now have a rotation of about 6 different forwards that can all score goals, whether it's, Lexi's now fit again. We added Cash, Jordan Warmdahl, Caitlin Pacoba, Eden Hardy, Ali Cook. And we've got other people that can go up into the front line if needed. So, Callan Harrington's, she's close to being back with us as well. So the amount of pace and goal scoring ability we have on the front line is awesome.
Facing Northern Arizona, you're going to get to see them play against the Pac-12 team tomorrow, but what do you know about them?
Fast, direct, really direct up top, organised in the back line. They actually played Utah State last weekend, so obviously Manny used to coach here, so I was able to chat with him about them. And so organised, Callie's done a really good job there. She was obviously in the Pac-12 prior as an assistant with Arizona, so it'll be a tough game for us and another good game on our journey this season.
What's the biggest thing you want to learn in these non-con games, just about the depth that you have and some of those folks that are maybe angling for more minutes, and these can be the games where they can make a case for that?
In all honesty, it might be a cliche. We look at all areas of our game and try to make sure we continue to evolve game to game, whether it's stifling teams from getting out on the counter-attack, whether it's our attack and organised when we're set up, whether it's how we defend in the final third, with how we attack in the final third, different scenarios to come up at set pieces. I think there's traits within all of the different teams who play in the non-conference that we'll see within the conference play, so it's making sure we evolve within those areas right now, so then once we get into Pac-12 play, we're in the best situation possible.
Are you able to project that when you're making a non-conference schedule? You're able to say, this is stylistically, what this team is, and this is what's going to match up in the Pac-12, so we'll put them on the schedule because it seems like that's somebody we might face in December type thing?
A little bit, yeah. We look at different matchups. Obviously, RPI comes into that piece as well, where there's a team matchup with regards to RPI. So when we want to get our team on the road early to look at a few different pieces. So we'll look at that a little bit, yeah. Obviously, coaching changes can happen in between then as well, so we can't predict all of those pieces. But we do our best to get the schedule set up the way we want it, for sure.
There were so many little knocks and injuries on Sunday that happened. Can you just tell me about the health of the team in general, like Leah, Ali Cook, I know went out of the game, just all that?
Cookie's good. She's been back training as normal. Leah, we're working on getting her ready for the weekend. If she isn't ready, then we like we said, we have a really good goalkeeper in Maddie Goldberg. So True Didasco, probably won't be good for this weekend. Not sure on her status long term. Lexi Romero's back with us now. Like I said, Callan Harrington is really close. So, it's just the little tweaks and pulls and that. Like I said, their surface was laid 3 days prior to playing, so that was tough to play on. And so we're just dealing with little pieces with regards to that. But we're actually not far off being in a really good place.
That's Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, previewing the Sunday matchup with Northern Arizona here at Pat Bay Field. When we come back, we're going to hear from Zoe Hasenour, fascinating conversation with one of the Oregon soccer standouts. That's going to wrap up Duck Insider next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Earlier today, we got the chance to catch up with Zoe Hasenour. She's one of the standouts for Oregon soccer, has actually been an assist machine. You heard Graeme Abel just say, though, that when he got here, the focus was on her ability to score. Well, now she's really the facilitator for this Oregon team. 4th all-time in career assists at Oregon, and a chance to continue to climb that list in a hurry. Zoe Hasenour was talking a little bit about, well, not only that, but also her own NIL deal. She walked us through what that process has been like for an athlete, and she begins talking about just why she has so many assists so far this year.
Honestly, my teammates, it's been really easy to get them the ball, and I think they've done a really good job this year of finishing. I mean, obviously we have almost the same amount of goals that we scored last year, so we're doing really well in that category, and I think that's just made it that much easier this season.
What's that been, or what's the difference just kind of been between where you guys were last spring and where you are now, and just the ease at which you're finding chances and putting them away?
I think we really realized last season how many games we could have come out with and had better results if we had just finished our opportunities. And I think in the off season, a lot of people really went home and focused technically on finishing their chances and getting that scoring technique down. So I think that really helped us a lot.
What's the NIL deal you got?
I have a couple. Most of mine are just clothing things that I'm getting in return for social media posts and stuff like that. But I have one with Vintage Clothing Shop in Eugene called The Nest, and then I have a couple activewear places like online that I'm really excited about.
So how did that kind of come about? Did they reach out to you? Were you seeking out NIL deals when it first kind of happened? Walk me through that.
I kind of posted saying that I was interested in working with people, but most of the companies reached out to me through my social media. They DM'd me, and then I looked into it with my dad and stuff, their background and like what their message that they were trying to display what their company was, and then I followed up with them if I liked it.
Is that something you're negotiating on your own, or are you seeking out like a marketing rep or somebody like that to help you with it?
I'm pretty much doing it on my own right now. I haven't really like looked into it too in depth, just because of the fact that it's so new and like foreign to me. My parents have honestly mostly been helping me out with it, but it's been mostly on my own.
Graeme was saying the field you guys were at a couple days, they had just like laid it down. How different did that make it, that your last game against San Francisco?
It was really difficult. Apparently they had just put the field in like 4 to 8 days before we got there, and it was really new turf and really slippery. So, I mean, anyone that watched the game can see that a lot of the girls were slipping on the field. It was really hard to like get control over the ball, but I feel like we did a good job fighting through that adversity and getting a result out of it.
You're starting to see some different parts of your depth. You saw when Leah went down, Goldberg came in. What did you see out of her?
I think a lot of the younger players stepped up a lot, especially like even in our Fresno State game, we had Caitlin come off the bench and score, and I think that they are doing a good job knowing their role in the team and knowing the spark that they need to bring when they come onto the field. And I think Maddie did a great job coming into the game and being a leader. She does really good communicating with us, and I think that's something that we really need from her.
Both games were really physical, especially that Fresno State game. There's a lot of fouls. Can you just talk to me about the physicality of your team? I remember last year you guys were like first in the Pac-12 in fouls. So like just about the physicality level of the team.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of physical teams. I mean, even San Francisco is really, really physical, and I think that that's just going to be a great test for us in the beginning of the season, going into when we play Washington State, Arizona, some other teams that are really physical in our league. So I think that that was just a good test for us. I think that Graeme always says that we need to match whatever energy that the other team has and kind of get to that level that they're at. And it might start off slow in the beginning, but once we get our feet under us, I think we do a good job matching people with our physicality. I mean, obviously that showed last year with our fouls and stuff, but it's been good.
Yeah, they've been one of those teams that I think under Coach Abel, they've really, for lack of a better description, asserted their presence in every match they've played in. And last year, you know, there were a couple, as Zoe alluded to, matches where it's like they hit the crossbar. They just missed an opportunity. You know, it was one of those years where you think, God, if 3 goals had gone in, Oregon would have been in a very different situation. But they were so good because their defense was so darn good last year. Now the offense sure has been translating. They're a little bit healthier, but still a little dinged up heading into a Sunday 1 o'clock kickoff at Pape Field. That's going to do it for us today. We got a lot more Oregon football tomorrow. The voice of the Ducks, Jerry Allen, will join us. Mike Jorgensen will be with us. We'll make some picks because we got a Pac-12 game to pick this week. We'll also tell you what we learned from fall camp as fall camp comes to a close and we start looking ahead toward that opener against Fresno State. See you tomorrow, everybody.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them.